Hello and welcome back to another Doctor Who action figure review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the latest character options online exclusive, which is in fact the Warriors of the Deep set, featuring the Silurian Triad, Icthar, Scibus and Tarpok. Now this set came completely out of the blue for most fans out there, and I was in complete shock when these were actually announced. And out of all the items that I believed we would get through character, Classic Series Silurians were not ones I dreamt that we'd ever see. But they've surprised most of us by releasing these absolute beauties. I literally can't believe it. Fans have been wanting more 80s monsters to fill up their shelves, to go between the Daleks and Cybermen that we've had so far, but we have finally got something more interesting to put on those shelves. So before we take a look at the figures in depth, firstly, let's take a look at the packaging. So the figures are housed in this window box display featuring the blue and grey style guide that we've all known to expect with these new sets, with the TARDIS on the side and the current logo. And instead of the gold foil sticker, we actually have a gold stamp stating that this set is a CO exclusive, as well as the name of the set and the year of broadcast. And on the back we get this very long synopsis of Warriors of the Deep, as well as a bit of information about the Silurians, as well as some information about the story from behind the scenes. You also have some rather nice publicity images of the figures themselves, which again is nice to have a look at if you want to see what's inside. Opening up the box, you also have this lovely diorama backdrop of the Silurian submarine. You have the column on the side, the window showing the sea base behind the faux windows, with some of the Silurian computer information showing up on the right-hand side. They never cease to amaze me when it comes to creating these lovely dioramas. And if you decide to remove the window, you may find some Easter eggs dotted about. I'm not too sure, as I've not done this myself, and once again, if you decide to keep this portion of the box, it does make out to be a rather neat little display stand for your figures to be posed with. So taking these out of the box, the Silurians look fantastic. Like I said, I don't think anyone was expecting anything like this at all whatsoever. And something that I personally wanted was Classic Series Silurians. So when these were announced, I instantly bought these within a heartbeat. I was so excited. The thing that amazes me the most is that there is a lot of new tooling going on most of the body. To the untrained eye, people may think this is actually an entirely new figure, but it is in actual fact the body of a sea devil reused to make these toys. At first I couldn't actually believe this, as there is nothing that distinctive to show that this was originally a sea devil figure. So before we get into all of that, starting from the head sculpt, it's just exquisite. I am absolutely in awe with how amazing these guys look. Considering that these sets are made on a certain budget, it just shows that the money is being spent so well here. CO have done an amazing job here bringing these figures to life. There is so much texture going on with all the scales across the cheeks and the brow and all along the neck. It's absolutely brilliant. You also have these spines on the back of the head with the continuation of the scales going on the back of the ears, which is just such a great attention to detail. With the paint apps, there is a lot of washes going on, a lot of lights and a lot of darks along the scales just to make them pop, especially with all those dark washes. The eyes themselves have been painted in this rather faint gold colour with the little black reptilian pupils, but it is a shame they missed out on adding the green sections of the eyes, which were apparent on the masks in the show. But maybe the situation would have overcomplicated the paint details, so they maybe just simplified it just for this figure. But personally, I don't mind. And then taking a look at the third eye, as you can see, one of the Silurians have had it painted red. This was because in the programme, the third eye would flash so you could tell which Silurian is speaking. The other two in the set have just been painted black just to differentiate the differences between the three. Moving on from the head, another new piece of tooling is in actual fact the breastplate armour that is completely hollow plastic. It's not PVC or anything like that. And on the back, you have actually got more of the spines going on, which is also a separate piece to the back, and they are much more rubbery plastic compared to the rest of the sculpt, and that's just been stuck onto the back. It's a really lovely sculpt, as you can see, all the ridges on the front as well as on the back, and the whole thing's been painted in this lovely creamish paint job with a lighter wash on top. But now moving on to the arms, the bicep section is actual fact where the Sea Devil arm is repurposed for the Silurian. So some really clever part use here, and like I said, I didn't even believe this at first, but when moving down to the lower arm, this is where the new tooling takes place. You have these lovely scales going along the wrist and the forearm with these little creasings near the elbow. Now, I don't know whether that is to represent the creases that you get on the rubber costume that was used in the show, or the fact because they are reptilian and reptiles have creases in their skin. So who knows, but again, it's a nice little detail. On the left forearm, however, you do in fact get a slightly different piece, which is the communicator, which is sighted on the forearm. Again, really nicely sculpted and painted. You have the two little green buttons, and the base of the sculpt has just been painted in this nice grey with loads of light washes over the top, and it is the same on each Silurian. So my only gripe with the arms is that they look awfully skinny, and they just remind me of the Spitter from Left 4 Dead for some reason. I don't know why, it just kind of does. But I can understand why these things sort of happen when it comes down to budgeting and certain angles. It doesn't really look that bad, and it doesn't bother me too much to the point where I absolutely loathe the figure. Up next, we have the hands, which are also brand new, with the little suction cups on the tip of the fingers, almost very Zygon-like, and they are both different. The right hand is more of a pointy finger, and the left is more of a relaxed open palm hand. And another thing to mention is that both hands have the end fingers in all one piece. Now, this isn't actually a error or anything like that, as the gloves themselves used in the show were like that, and it makes it more reptilian, so I really love that attention to detail. Again, the paint apps here are really nice and crisp, and they're painted in the same orangey sort of colour as to the rest of the body. And then moving down to the legs, this is where the part reuse begins to show, which is of course the thighs, the crotch, as well as the rest of the legs. Apart from the feet, which is newly sculpted, the rest comes from the Sea Devil figure. The texture itself isn't exactly spot on from what we saw in the show, as there should be a lot of scales running down them, but again, it does work to an extent. And of course, the feet, like I said, are brand new, with this fleshy-like substance on the top, and then you have this shell-like bottom section. I think my only gripe is that the bottom section should be a lot steeper, as they were quite tall, but it still does work well here. Most of it has been painted in the same colour as the body, but with the shell bit being painted in a darker brown. And again, you also have these lovely washes on the top just to make those details pop. So for articulation for the Silurians, they're all exactly the same. So we've got Icthar here, and he has no head movement. It can turn slightly, but not that much. I mean, the head never turned in the episode anyway. The arms can do a full 360 and also move out. So there, because it's on a ball joint. There is no bicep articulation, which is a shame, because it kind of misses the point where he could probably hold his little wrist communicator thingy, but oh well. He has also got elbow articulation and articulation at the wrist. He has got waist articulation, but it is hindered by this heavy armour piece here. He has also got articulation at the legs that can slightly move forward and slightly out to the side, but again, very hindered. He's also got thigh articulation, and he can also bend at the knee, and his little feet mushroom thingies can twist as well. So that's pretty much it. So my final thoughts on this set is just, wow, I cannot believe these exist. Character have done such an amazing job in terms of the design of the head with these guys, and I think if you compared this to what we see on screen, they have really done these toys justice. It's just phenomenal. All the small details such as the scale and the eyes, they just look great. And they have done such a great technique of disguising all the fact that this was originally a Sea Devil. I mean, I could not believe my eyes when someone told me that this was actually reused parts, and I just assumed this was a brand new, and I just assumed that these were all brand new. But it just goes to show that the money is being spent well these days. And they just look so great on the shelf with all the other 5th Doctor and 80s monsters that we've just got thus far. I am gutted that I actually haven't got my Sea Devil figures with me, as I am desperate to compare these with their aquatic cousins. I mean, I know it may disappoint people that we got 3 figures that are exactly the same, but I'm personally not that bothered. I know some fans may have been wanting some Samurai Sea Devils, but who knows? Maybe they'll turn up in the future. And considering we got these as figures, we may get a set which features the 70 Silurians, as that is something that I would happily buy within a heartbeat, as they are such an iconic design, and I think it could sooner become a reality if we're getting things like this. If you're itching to buy this set yourself, then I definitely recommend going onto CO's website and buying one straight away, because at the time of recording, I have read somewhere that there is only roughly around 500 sets left, and once they're gone, they are gone. So, thanks again for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll be back for some more figure reviews from the B&M range later on in the year. But till then, stay tuned, and goodbye for now.